welcome to the projection booth and the Kulturecast and midnight viewing. We're doing it all three of our shows. I am your host, Mike White. Joining me is my other host, Chris Stachiw.
Nice fucking model.
Also joining us is my other host, Father Malone.
Beetlejuice, okay, whatever.
Oh man, there were some little kids that were getting freaked out at the movie theater I saw this movie at. Don't say it a third time.
Amazing.
Why are you worried about this somewhat sarcastic demon's gonna show up and do stuff? I don't know.
He's gonna try to make sweet love to you?
Yes. We are back 36 years after the original. We're back with Beetlejuice, and you know what that third one's going to be called, and you know they're probably going to make a third one because this has had a pretty good box office opening. We're back with the sequel to Beetlejuice.
If you say his name 3 times, he will appear. Beetlejuice.
I'm needed upstairs. Wants to spill your guts. All right, I will. My ex-wife is back.
Lay low, Mr. Juice. She's a soul sucker.
Yeah, you could say that again.
I want you out of my life. I swear the afterlife is so random.
Guilty as charged.
Beetlejuice, rated PG-13.
It's not Beetlejuice Goes Hawaii or some of the other Beetlejuice movies that had been kicked around over the years. It's not even a feature version of the cartoon because they had a cartoon of this.
They did. It was amazing.
Watch it on Saturday mornings. We are back with some of the cast of the original film. We'll definitely be talking about that. We have a family tragedy that starts this off, and we are introduced to, well, it's kind of it's a combination of the Wednesday show mixed with the original Beetlejuice. We will be spoiling this movie as we talk about it, though I don't think there's a whole lot you can spoil with this one unless you are a huge Richard Harris fan. So we'll get there. Trust me. Until then, Chris, what did you think of Beetlejuice? And did you see this theatrically? And if so, what was your experience like, sir?
With the original one?
No,
the new one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw the new one in theaters. It was, look, I went to Los Angeles earlier in the year and I went to Universal Studios and they had, as I was walking out the door, they had a guy dressed up like Beetlejuice, get your picture with Beetlejuice. Look, I find the original Beetlejuice probably to be my favorite Tim Burton movie. I would say it's probably in my top 10 or 15 movies. I think the character of Beetlejuice is one that I resonate with a lot, as I think a lot of people do, because he's kind of a piece of shit, but he's, a lovable piece of shit, which makes him, at least he was in the original. I think we'll have plenty to talk about when it comes to this movie and Beetlejuice. But the original, I think, is a seminal film for me. A lot of the bits from the first movie are things that, like the nice fucking model or the, hey, come here, got something good for you. Come on with the fucking Zagnut bar. The original is a classic for a reason. Is this movie going to hold up to that in the long term? 35 years from now, will we be talking about Beetlejuice, which, give him credit, the title is clever. It is, just based on the premise alone of what the framing device of Beetlejuice as a character is. The title of the movie's great. Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian is the thing we all wanted, obviously, for the longest time and still do. But I think if we're talking legacy sequels, which this very much is, I think it's one of the better ones. If not kind of up there with a good example of how you can do this if you want to do this. And that's the thing with this movie for me. Did we need this? No. Did we need this earlier than 2024? Yes. That's the problem. Did we need it now? No. Did we need it 20 years ago? Yeah, I kind of think so. If we were going to be doing a Beetlejuice movie 35 fucking years later, did people just wake up that Beetlejuice was a character that we wanted to revisit? No. I've never understood the issue with legacy sequels, that it took the industry 20 years to wisen up to, we have all these things people like. Oh my God. Like, it doesn't take people going to Spirit Halloween and buying Beetlejuice shit for you to realize you have one of the more iconic characters that's been created, at least in terms of 80s movies. And it's like, it took 35 years to get to this point. For real? Like, it shocks me that we're talking about a Beetlejuice movie in 2024, not because I didn't think this movie would have ever come out, but because I didn't think it would have taken 35 years to make a movie about Beetlejuice again, given that there was a cartoon, given that the original was so successful, given that we are watching a second one 35 years later. Like,
Beetlejuice has multiple porn parodies. Let's just put that out there. There are multiple. It's been that long. I mean,
yeah.
Edward Penis Hands came out so quickly after the original Edward Scissorhands. You know, like, okay, it makes sense to me that we're not really getting a sequel for that, but maybe we will. Maybe we'll get an Edward Scissorhands 2 where we don't explain why Johnny Depp has aged all these years or something. Yeah. How about you, Father Malone? What do you think about Beetlejuice?
Well, here's a fun fact, gentlemen. When Beetlejuice, the original Beetlejuice came out, studios used to do preview nights. They would do it like a week before the film was scheduled to come out, usually on a Thursday. Mm-hmm. And they would always partner it up with whatever was sort of failing at the box office. In this case, Beetlejuice was partnered up with Police Academy Assignment Miami Beach. Mm. And so I attended this special screening of Beetlejuice with HP, fellow Weirding Way Media mogul HP. That was the first thing we ever went to the movies to see together as freshmen in high school. And I loved the fucking movie, obviously. Went out and bought the soundtrack, was obsessed with it for years and years, and was especially proud because Michael McDowell lived in Medford, which was the town over from my hometown, and wrote Beetlejuice because he hated his neighbors and wanted to imagine a way to fucking kill them all. And a bioexorcist seemed like a good idea. So that movie hasn't diminished in any way for me over the years. Every time I watch Beetlejuice, it's just as good as when I first watched it. I don't have any problems with that movie, like, at all. So I wasn't surprised that they made another one. And I'm not surprised it took them as long as they did. The fact is, the movie was never getting made unless it was Burton and Keaton.
Right.
Neither was going to make the movie without the other. So, I mean, I am surprised it took as long as it did. And I suspect it went into production finally because of Jenna Ortega. Like, I think once he figured that out and had Goff and Miller retool the screenplay to have this daughter character, I think that's why we got a movie. Here's the thing, though. I think that's unfortunate because I think that character is superfluous to the movie that we got. I agree with you, Chris. I think this is the best of the legacy sequels that we've seen. Like, I think there's more to recommend this movie than not. I think the fan service sucks. I'm sorry it's in here because I think the innovative stuff that they do in here is really fun. I like all the stuff all the time we spend in the fucking paranormal world. All the ghostly stuff is all great. It's so great, in fact, that I wish they had just done a reverse to the first film and spent the little time that we spend in the human world, as opposed to, it should have taken place entirely in the ghost world, is my point. But having said that, and I do have even greater problems with it, namely Justin Theroux's character. I liked it overall. I mean, it was a good time. When I saw the early trailers, I was really scared because it seemed like whatever takes they were using of Michael Keaton, he seemed really tired. And I was worried that this was just going to be sad. And that was not the case at all. There's more of him in this movie than the first film. And it's welcome. I wish there was more of it. That's my take on Beetlejuice.
What about you, Mike?
I don't think I liked it as much as you did. I think I liked it okay, but it felt kind of scattered. It didn't really feel like there was a real clear through line to this. I'm also a huge fan of the original. Saw that theatrically back in 88, watched it a ton when it was on cable and VHS, and just really enjoyed it. This one almost felt more like a Men in Black sequel than a Beetlejuice sequel, especially with the Monica Bellucci character, who she gets like 2 lines maybe during this whole thing. And there were times where I was looking at her going, is that Catherine Zeta-Jones from Wednesday? Or did Tim Burton finally make amends with Lisa Marie and get her back? Because he certainly has a type. And apparently he and Monica Bellucci are now dating, which, okay, I guess that's one of his rules, is that he has to date some of the cast members. I mean, that was how and why Helena Bonham Carter, who is a fucking fantastic actress, gets in here. And I love into his world, I should say. I love Monica Bellucci, but she has nothing to do in this movie other than walk around, and it just felt like there was nothing going on with her. And I was like, where is she in relation to the rest of these characters? I thought Catherine O'Hara, Delia, had mellowed incredibly over the years, and maybe that's just the way that life works. And of course, just the introduction of the Jeffrey Jones character, and how that becomes a thing throughout the whole movie, this corpse walking around without a head and with a person doing a Jeffrey Jones impersonation's voice coming out of it. It's like, did we even need this? I thought it was kind of nice having the shark-shaped tombstone. I thought the production design of this was very good. I don't know if we needed the musical act. I guess they were like, well, we did Deo in the first one, so we have to do MacArthur Park in this one. And I love MacArthur Park, and so this one was perversely enjoyable in that part, especially seeing all of the people lip syncing MacArthur Park. But and it's such a ridiculous song that I think that it fits this perfectly. But I kind of missed more of that Danny Elfman score. I mean, to your point, this is one of his best scores. And I know he did music for this, but it just wasn't as present as it could have been. I mean, there were characters in here that just kind of drop in and drop out, like Willem Dafoe. And I was like, please, guys, just give this another pass or 2 or 3 at the typewriter, because I think that it could have been way better.
But to both of your points, if you are here for Beetlejuice, I think it satisfies in that regard, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, Beetlejuice is a tough character. I mean, I don't know if you guys read those sequel scripts to Beetlejuice. Like, there were at least 2 out there, and I know there've probably been more. But it's a tough thing because he's kind of like the shark from Jaws. Like, you don't want him on screen too much, and it's smart to keep him away from things. Here I am complaining about Monica Bellucci is too far away from things, but I think they give us just the right amount of Beetlejuice, because too much would have been even more would have been way too much.
Can I disagree with that, actually?
Please.
Because here's the thing. I honestly wish this had been a movie beginning to end Beetlejuice, and then he has to come to our world to like fucking deal with his Monica Bellucci problem. Look, I did not in any... let me deal with Michael Keaton first, because I think I was worried too, and everyone keeps saying that, like a little of him goes a long way, which is true. And he's in that first movie only like 12 minutes. It's the perfect amount, right? But the thing is, the human stuff going on in that movie is so fucking compelling that having this chaotic character show up every once in a while, it's just the right amount. In this movie, I don't give a fuck about Jenna Ortega's character or her boyfriend or anything else sort of swirling around here. There's a lot that I really like in the movie, but it is, as you said, like they needed another pass on the screenplay. If this had been putting aside my fucking fan fictioning that it should have been from Beetlejuice's point of view, it seems to me, and maybe I'm crazy, that this at one point was going to be a love triangle movie between Lydia, her boyfriend, and Beetlejuice. Doesn't it seem like it was constructed that way?
A little bit, yeah.
And like not the fucking stupid boob of a character that fucking Justin Theroux is playing, which, by the way, when you do that in a movie like this, you have one of our lead characters, one of our most beloved characters, fall in love with this fucking moron. Like, it cheapens her. Sorry, everybody, but like making her in love with this boob does not aid her character in any way, shape, or form. It's hurtful. But if Lydia had been in love with a ghost and this other ghost is vying for her attention, that could have been fucking great. It would have like streamlined everything. But no, we have to have Jenna Ortega in it because she's his real new muse in the movie.
Well, no offense to the actor that played the ex-husband with all the piranhas out on him, but who is he? Because I was expecting somebody big to show up. I was like, oh, well, this guy's got to be at least like Pedro Pascal level or something, or somebody who I knew, and then this guy shows up. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, how about like Ewan McGregor or somebody Tim Burton's worked with? Like, right. Danny DeVito was a fucking janitor for 2 seconds.
Give us some Johnny Depp.
Yeah. My God.
I don't know what to say. Like, it's 2024. Give us some Johnny Depp, for fuck's sake. I don't know. They work together enough.
They sure did. And, if you're worried about the optics, I mean, they got rid of Jeffrey Jones. So I don't know if
they sure did, didn't they?
But here's the thing. Does a claymation pedophile somehow like
absolve you of the real pedophile?
not even absolve, but like, does it take you out of the movie? Because it took me out of the movie.
Yeah, sure.
And here's the thing. I loved the idea of a flashback being claymation. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Oh, yeah, it really recalled Cabin Boy because it was that same style of animation that was in Cabin Boy.
But it's just Jeffrey Jones, and I'm like, there's a reason he's not in this movie, guys. They didn't write his character as dead up for just dramatic purposes, because if there had been no scandal, rest assured Charles Deetz would be in this movie.
Yeah, still acting weird 35 years later.
Well, she even gives what's the name of the guy that Robert Goulet played? Oh shit,
Maxie Priest.
Yeah, she even says at one point during the funeral, "Oh, was that Maxie Priest?" And I was like,
"Wasn't he dead?"
The real Robert Goulet definitely is.
No, I know that, but like also like, isn't the character in the universe dead? He got shot through the roof of the house.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that is.
We tend not to think of what happened to him, but he's most likely dead. He was launched through a ceiling of a century-old house. By the way, one of my favorite bits in the entire movie is after Charles's funeral, that the house itself is in mourning, that they've draped the entire house in black gossamer. I thought that was fucking hilarious. That actually made me laugh out loud. Also, I wish the trailer had not ruined the child choir singing the Banana Boat song, because it being sung at his funeral, that made me laugh really hard as well.
I was glad I hadn't seen the trailer, but there were several times during the movie where I was like, oh, this has got to be a trailer shot. Like there's one where like the camera's kind of I don't know, tracking across faces. It might be at that funeral, and I was like, oh well, this is a trailer shot. And then there's another one where it's the city model and they're inside of the attic and somebody comes in and goes, oh wow, or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally from the trailer too. It has to be. Yeah.
This summer.
You thought that he was gone. Yes. All you have to do is say his name.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Yeah, pretty much. And we did the fucking advertising for this movie ourselves. This summer, Michael Keaton returns. Yep. All right, we're good.
He's goes with the most, babe. Yeah.
He's the best part of this movie, other than the practical effects.
Oh, the practical effects are off the charts. They're great.
Yes.
That is the best part of this movie. Ultimately, say what you will about Beetlejuice as a character, say what you will about your mileage will vary with Beetlejuice, and I agree with you, Father Malone. You know, look, the first movie. It's not that they didn't know what they had, but they knew what they had enough to keep Beetlejuice off the screen so that he didn't get in the way. Now, I agree. Like, it would have benefited them if they had, just given us more goddamn Beetlejuice and less of everything else. Because, is it okay to say I get it with Jenna Ortega, but it doesn't do anything for me? Does that make sense? Can I say that? Is that a thing to say? Like, it doesn't do anything for me. I would rather watch Kiernan Shipka, because I think Kiernan Shipka is kind of what I think Jenna Ortega for a lot of people is, which is a very talented young person who got their start acting on a TV show that was on Netflix, or is ostensibly known for it. And Kiernan Shipka played Sabrina, which much better show than Wednesday in a lot of ways. It doesn't have Luis Guzman in it. I get it. But, I found Sabrina to be a much more interesting show that's talking about the same things, if not very similar things.
Well, look, I fundamentally think that character should not be in the movie. So
for the goths, baby.
And the thing is, like, the actual prototypical goth girl is Lydia Deetz. Like, that's where it all begins. The modern goth starts with her. There's just no question about that.
Right, totally.
We've got her. We don't need another her. Like, I would have appreciated something different. I don't need a little clone of Winona Ryder, like the sort of brooding teen.
No, it should have been, if anything, her kid should have been the complete 180 of her, right?
Something.
Right. She should have been like Wednesday.
Yeah, right, roommate. Mom. Yeah. Whatever, Mom. Like, okay, right. Mom. I like, would that have been a little on the nose? Sure. But I think what they did was equally on the nose, if not just, I don't know. I did not think that her character was needed in this movie any more than you did, Father Malone. And again, I'm kind of also just over the Jenna Ortega of it all, because she is just kind of everywhere now. And I have only really seen her used well in a handful of things. This is not one of them. She was good in Scream. She's great in Scream. Both of those Scream movies, she's pretty good. Even a second one that's not as good as the first one, but she's great in it. But this is not that caliber. And again, to your point, it's like, what's the point of having just another version of Winona Ryder on screen? That now they're competing with each other. That's a good idea. Like, no, like it would be like putting another Beetlejuice in the movie. Do we really need to do that? Like, do people really not realize how big of a deal Lydia Deetz is in this universe to so many people? Like you said, Father Malone, like she's as big of a character as Beetlejuice. She's the character that people probably resonate more with from these movies than Beetlejuice. Let's be honest here. It's the weirdos that like Beetlejuice. It's the less weirdos that like Lydia Deetz, because she's the likable, understandable, quote unquote, character in the first movie. And especially for people who were y'all's age seeing it at the time.
Well, in Winona Ryder, I don't know if she's trying to do an homage to that speech that was given at the Grammys, where she had that confused look on her face, because that's what she's doing every time. What's the guy's name? Rory, the Justin Theroux character, speaks. She keeps doing that, like, what? Huh? Like, totally confused. I was like, are we making a reference now to that? I guess that's what's happening. And then, I mean, really, to your point with Jenna Ortega, so much of her story is taken up by this Jeremy character, the Arthur Conti character, who you just see all of that stuff coming a mile away. As soon as they showed his parents and you didn't see their faces, I'm like, oh, okay, well, they're probably dead or they're demons or something. And of course, Jenna Ortega can see spirits because she is the daughter of Lydia Deetz. Okay, I guess this makes sense. And this is all, within the first few minutes of this character showing up. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I have this guy figured out, and he's going to be her entree into the underworld. I think it would have been better had she had a different entree into the underworld. Maybe if that tied into the Dolores story, the Monica Bellucci story. There we go. Something. It didn't, like I said, it just feels like a whole bunch of stuff all thrown together. Even when it comes to Lydia Deetz and her psychic program, show me more. Give me a little bit more of that stuff rather than I'm assuming all kinds of stuff with that show. But I really would have liked to have seen it, and I would have liked to have seen, much more of. They cut us off from before we find out what's going on with the little dog and the family. I was like, okay, I want to see what is possessing this house, but no, we'll get away from that. I'm like, this could have been some high comedy in this area, but instead we have to hurry up and get away from it.
Who'd have thunk that this movie would steal from the best Ghostbusters sequel ever, Ghostbusters 2? I mean, it literally opens with hairless cats. Weird. Like it's literally that, which to me is like, this movie dates itself. That's not a thing. This is not a thing anymore. Like, oh, they're driving a electric vehicle. Okay, so it's 2024, but a lot of the sentimentality and sensibilities of this movie are trapped in 1985 still, and 1987, 1989. Like, it feels like an 80s movie more so than a lot of legacy sequels do, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it, but it doesn't, if it's going to be made in 2024, there needs to be a pass for the 2024 of it all, or the modernity of it all. And it doesn't seem to be interested in doing that at all, which is fine. I get it, but this movie is set in the future, and they're juxtaposing it against a time and a place that time doesn't seem to exist in. And it's so strange to me that, like, some of the choices that are made in this movie feel like straight out of other 80s movies and other 80s sequels that this movie, again, is in a lot of ways a comparative to. Like, this movie is a comparative to Ghostbusters 2. Did it take a much longer time to come out? Yes, but it is technically a sequel to a very successful 80s movie, and it literally has a plot line from one of those movies dragged out and thrown right on screen, almost identical to the way that movie opens with one of its main characters.
I think this is a better movie than Ghostbusters 2. And as for but the sort of modern aspect of this movie, what are you talking about? The entire last third of the movie takes place as a giant joke for Soul Train.
Oh, God. Brother. Yeah, man. I'm a hep cat and I can dig it. Can't you? Like,
that was wild. I was just like, how many of the kids watching this are getting this at all? How many
parents,
of these people in this theater even know who Don Cornelius is?
Burton obviously has a 70s fetish. Like, The Dark Shadows was also set in this the same sort of 70s universe. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Had this movie come out like fucking 20 years ago, or in 1998 or something, then this would all be fantastic. Like, it would be like groundbreaking in a way. Here it's just, I mean, I loved it. I look, I love a Soul Train joke. I love that there was a ghostly Don Cornelius there. Like, that was all great as far as I can tell. But like, everything seems just a little too late to the game. Mike, you mentioned Monica Bellucci. Like, she doesn't really get much to do here, right? I would say further, like, this character Dolores, who is the antagonist of the piece, what we end up with is, once again, a fucking jilted girlfriend or wife, the sort of crazy ex-girlfriend character. Like, she's coming to fucking kill because she's a nutcase. But then we get a flashback here. So we get to see Beetlejuice before he died. We get to see how Beetlejuice died. And she's a murderess. She poisons him and kills him. And in turn, before he dies, he kills her. And now this movie, she's out for revenge against him. But she killed him.
Correct.
So that's her only motivation. And, Mike, you said about Tim Burton, like, constantly having a type and this is Morticia mixed with, right? It's the patchwork girl, but like a more goth version. Like, when she went into a dry cleaners and started like picking off clothes and like turning them black by touching them, all I could think about is the sales at Hot Topic. Oh, and speaking of that, I am very excited to get a lot of undead hot dog on a stick girls this Halloween. Very much looking forward to it. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, I also, like you, I find the afterlife to be the most interesting part, and really would have liked to have had more there. I kind of would have liked to have seen more of what Danny DeVito's up to as this janitor character. But yeah, it just, they also missed this whole idea, and this might have just moved the original movie along, the whole idea of when you're in the afterlife, time moves differently there.
Right.
There's that whole thing of, oh, you've been gone for 3 months. It's like 3 months. I was just there for half an hour. And of course that makes it so that, what have the Deetzes done to the house? Right. But at the same time, it's like, come on, guys. And I don't know, the Maitlands were supposed to be there for 125 years, but we're not seeing them anymore. I guess they left. So that was odd too. Again, just if you stay away from the house, you don't have to worry about the Maitland part of it, but we got to go back to the house. We got to do this again. We got to do that again. I'm surprised that they didn't get, I know we've moved down from Tony Cox as being the little person of choice for Tim Burton, but I'm surprised we didn't get Deep Roy coming back as like the that same little priest character from the first movie too, because again, we end with a marriage. It's like, again, we're doing this. We're doing the marriage again.
Well, it's a legacy sequel, baby, and we got to do the things again. But yeah, where's Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis and all this? That's one of the real big questions I had here. Because like you mentioned, Father Malone, the first movie is ostensibly named Beetlejuice, but it has him in it as much as Jaws is in Jaws. Like, his purpose is needed, but not overdone. In this movie, they don't even, are they even mentioned?
They are mentioned at one point.
Okay, so it's like a
Winona
throwaway
Ryder
line.
just says they moved on. I'm
right.
Like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So in a world where the undead are the most important thing that we're talking about, and the afterlife is this whole thing that they just moved on. Okay. It's like they got mudded, like from Indiana Jones and Dial Destiny. They poochied themselves. They didn't make it back to their home planet, and they died on the way home. Like, all right, whatever, fine. Like, whatever, fine. Like, I mean, like Will Smith in Independence Day Resurgence. Like, he just died off screen. This is his son. Like, man, legacy sequels. I don't think we should be making them if we can't get all the people involved. I don't know. Seems kind of like a thing that we should be, taking under advisement if we continue to make these, which at this point, are there any left to make? I guess there are. Sure. I guess there are, but like in terms of like 80s movies, I think they've run out. I think now it's going to be 90s and 2000. Well, it's got to be, because they got to start tailoring it for people
science project, Ferris Bueller's Other Day Off.
Oh, yeah. Edward Scissorhands and Spoon Feet.
47 Candles.
Oh, yeah.
What's the one they
Pretty
are working
in Pink
on? The next to Last Starfighter. They are working on a Last Starfighter, as far as I know.
What about Prettier in Pink? Does that count?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Too Pretty, Too Pink.
Then they're probably still making Home Alone movies.
Last drop of blood from every property that's already come before. Fucking kill them, destroy all the culture, so we have to start new.
Well, Or we could just have like at World's End, just an EMP grenade set off and just destroy all of this. So we have to start over anew. Because we've really worked ourselves into a shoot here in the entertainment industry. Because again, I mean, I mentioned the idea that it took them 30 years to realize they could do legacy sequels. Like, we didn't need to wait this long for this. Like, and you said, Father Malone, like, I get what you were getting at, but like, it's, I know that they weren't waiting or whatever. And I know that Tim Burton and the Michael Keaton of it all make this a little bit different than everything else, but there was going to be a time where they were going to make this without Michael Keaton and Tim Burton.
Well, that would have been a terrible idea.
Well, I mean, but look at how many sequels got made in the 80s and 90s without those primary people to begin with. Yeah. I think maybe this movie did benefit from waiting this long because now it's kind of put on a pedestal. I mean, the Spirit Halloween of it all does that. The Universal Studios of it all does that. The Beetlejuice's Halloween Review did that at Universal Studios. Like, there was plenty of Beetlejuice to be had in the last 35 years. It's just there was no more Beetlejuice to be had in the last 35 years. And so we just drove around the same racetrack looking at the same things. Oh, Big Ben Parliament. We've seen it a million times. So now they're giving us more. I'm surprised that it has taken an industry who loves to give more this long to give us more of something that they clearly understood for at least the last 10, 15 years was a thing that people really clearly wanted and were willing to spend money on, because I don't know where you guys see the movies, but they had Beetlejuice fucking merch and all sorts of shit at the movie theater I went to, popcorn buckets and everything else. And when I say they had them, I mean they were sold out. They didn't have any because everybody bought them. So I don't think that this movie's hurting either.
Chris, from 1988 until now, the studio would have made this movie any year.
I believe it.
The actual holdouts here are Burton and
right, which is a unique situation comparatively to a lot of them. Is right. Kind of your point.
Yeah, but mixed into that is the fact that because of this IP fucking madness, they've boxed everyone into fucking corners here. You know, like it's like make this or don't make anything at all. So it makes making a Beetlejuice sequel a little more tantalizing. Maybe Tim Burton gets to make some other fucking cuckoo movie after this. You know.
Oh, one for me, one for you type thing.
I think what he's going to be doing is looking for his next maybe TV property to do, or other beloved film like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Planet of the Apes. He just, what else can I ruin for people?
Did he ruin Planet of the Apes, or did Planet of the Apes ruin itself?
He ruined Planet of the Apes. That movie is a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, his movie is terrible.
Compared to the Matt Reeves films, and you're like, wow.
Well, but again, that's compared to the Matt Reeves films. I'm talking about when it originally came out. It was disappointing, yes, but some of those later Planet of the Apes movies weren't great, anyways. Is also my point.
It was only the fifth one for me was bad. I mean, other than that, well, fifth one, maybe second one, but I know some people love the second one. But the fourth Planet of the Apes movie is just as strong, if not stronger, than the third, than the second, and maybe even the first.
Maybe I should rewatch them then. I don't remember enjoying them all.
I think like the Conquest of the Planet of the Apes is my favorite. That's like the fifth one in the series, or fourth one.
No, Conquest is 4. Battle for the Planet of the Apes is 5. That's where they face off against the Mole Men, and that's got John Huston as the lawgiver and Paul Williams as Virgil, I think his name is.
Yeah,
kind of a wasted character.
But hey, we got some good late night talk show with Paul Williams in ape outfit. So
sure thing.
There's that.
Showing up on the Tonight Show. That was great.
Yeah. And hey, we got a lot of Beetlejuice doing Michael Keaton doing the exact same thing here, out of, playing Beetlejuice in advertising and all sorts of stuff. It's, for as much as Deadpool and Wolverine was the beginning of the summer, this is like the waning days of the summer in terms of the big IP, right? Like, you asked me what my experience was like in the theaters. I went this afternoon and it was fucking full. Like, it was full the way Alien Romulus was full. And I was not surprised, but when I looked at the ages of the people in there were children in the theater for this movie. And I was like, wait a second here. Like, I mean, okay, it's the Halloween of it all, but not a kid's movie either. Not really. I feel like a kid would watch this movie and be bored. Like, because again, like, there's a lot going on, but I don't think it's necessarily a lot going on for someone who's like 7 or 8 right now in 2024. And there were those age kids in the movie theater. It was for the parents were there. I get it, but I don't know. Beetlejuice has been kiddyified down to like, it's a kiddie thing now. The original Beetlejuice never struck me as a kid's thing. I guess I get where it is now.
Chris, there was a cartoon, remember?
I don't know. I don't know how many of the people that I know now are watching that cartoon with their kids, though, is my point.
All of them. What are you talking about?
I don't know that for a fact is my point. If you know that, that's perfectly fine. But when I talk to my friends about Beetlejuice, I've never heard them mention the cartoon. They just mention watching the original movie with their kids. And the original movie is, again, for me, didn't strike me as a kid's movie, but maybe it is, and I just don't realize it.
Just knowing the level of furor of Beetlejuice fans, just looking at their output on social media, you know they're watching that cartoon with their kids. They're consuming as much Beetlejuice as they can with their children.
Should we call? How many of the kids watching this movie in the past weekend were named Lydia? You think
a good lot of them?
None named Beetlejuice, though. I bet.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine. Right? Like, I don't, is it, are we at the point now where it's just like, yeah, it finally came out. Okay. It's going to take a while for anybody to really not get a wrangle on the movie, but like it's been out for 48 hours. Like I will be curious if this movie genuinely stands that test of time the way the original has. And I don't want to say it won't, because that's to throw it out immediately, but does this have the staying power of the original Beetlejuice?
I'm interested to watch it again, honestly. Like, I liked it that much. It sounds like I'm really down on this movie. I'm not. I had a really good time watching it. It's just that you're stacking it against one of the perfect films of the 1980s.
Right. Well, you have to. I mean, that's the way it is.
You know, like, I really liked that prequel to The Thing, but like, it's nowhere near the league of the original film. Like,
yeah, it's actually, I was thinking about that yesterday. I was watching some YouTube videos about it. I was like, I should rewatch that movie. It's not half bad.
Oh, I like that movie a lot, but like, is it in the same caliber? Nowhere near.
Well, that becomes the question, right? Like, is our expectation that it should be in the same caliber, or should it do something different? Or what's the expectation?
35 years later, I want it to be perfect. That's the thing. Like, if this were 10 years later, all the faults with it, I'd be like, God, they did a really fucking good job considering, you know?
Well, it's the Alien 3 of it all, right? Like, we have 15 months to make this movie. Why are you rushing? Why not wait?
Yeah.
Let David Fincher make the movie, like, make a movie here, like, don't rush. And yet here we are 35 years later, and we're now getting, there have been how many sequels to Alien since there have been one sequel to Beetlejuice? All of them. Literally all of them. Think about that for just 2 fucking seconds. It took this long to get a second Beetlejuice movie, and we've had all of the Alien movies since, essentially.
Well,
other than Alien 2. Other than Alien 2. Literally, that's it.
Yeah.
Which everybody would agree are the first 2 best ones that barely get, ragged on. Everything else beyond that is where your mileage is going to vary. But yeah, I mean, it took that long to get anything else for this. And it's like, wow, I would put this up against all of those as better sequels for the most part.
I can't believe you guys have talked this long without discussing Bob and
well,
and Ken and James or whoever these other guys are.
Rich characters, so good.
I guess that head shrinker was very angry at Century 21 representatives and shrank all these guys' heads that all have the same yellow jackets. What? So Beetlejuice is working in hell now, and he has office workers. I thought that was an interesting twist. I don't know how successful it was. I guess Monica Bellucci's pretty stupid since she thinks that Bob in the Beetlejuice costume is Beetlejuice, I guess. But yeah, that was a choice too. That's one of those where I'm just like, okay, we could have done something more with this. And we even end the film with all of the guys except for Bob out in the real world. I was really expecting a mid-credit teaser or some sort of joke sequence with what these guys are up to. I thought that would have actually worked out kind of well.
That's Beetlejuice 3, baby.
Well, yeah, if that had happened like halfway through the movie where they just started running amok in the real world, like that could have been really, really good. Like, as it is now, it just feels like fan service. Like, you like that fucking head shrinking guy, right? Like, well, here's a lot of them. Like, well, I don't need a lot of them.
Right. Well, and apparently Beetlejuice got his head unshrunk because that's how we last see him in the movie.
I guess that's how you're promoted in that particular department. I like that. I liked that it was sort of like a complaint department where everyone who was answering the phones had their mouths sewn shut. I thought that was a nice metaphor in there. Mm-hmm. And I again, everything in the afterlife, like, we haven't even mentioned that Willem Dafoe is a character in this movie, is this like 80s action star who is often he's investigating the Monica Bellucci character. Like, he's really going for it. Like, Willem Dafoe has never been more excited to be in a movie than this. Like, he just, I really liked his character here.
The thing I liked the most about his character was his assistant who would show up and hand him the cup of coffee. And I noticed he crushed it at one point and threw it against the wall, and there's this whole basket of empty coffee cups that have been crushed. And I was kind of hoping that would be a thing, that he has to crush the cup, but at least she's there, and at least there are times where she just shows up out of nowhere and hands him a cup of coffee, and I really like that. I also really liked the use of the Pino Donaggio score at the end when it's I almost said Wednesday, when it's Astrid's dream sequence. And as soon as that music starts up, I'm just like, oh, okay, so we're doing a Carrie montage. Now we're going to do our Carrie homage. We're going to have something horrible happen. But then it ends up being the end of The Fly. And I'm just like, oh, this is another Gina Davis performance I'd much rather see than having the baby from Trainspotting show up and crawl across the ceiling. I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Beetlejuice Baby. How have we talked about it 45 minutes without talking about Beetlejuice Baby?
I know we're going to get Beetlejuice Baby all over Hot Topic this year. And that's going to be the new thing. It's going to crawl and its head will spin around and it'll make little noises. Maybe if you pull the string, it'll be like, I'm the ghost with the most, babe, or something like that will come out of it.
Do you know what I realized? The thing we haven't mentioned that is probably the bigger inroad to Beetlejuice Father Malone than even the animated cartoon has been for people at this point. There was a musical, Tony Award-winning musical that the three of us all forgot about, and now we collectively have egg on our faces because that is why Beetlejuice is so popular now. Is because of it. Yeah, it has to be.
I disagree fundamentally with you. I think
it is a well-regarded musical. Just because we don't like it does it, but the popularity of it makes it easier to stomach something like this. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not giving it a pass, but I think it's kind of weird how it reverse eats its own tail. It's like we're going to make a movie that gets made into a TV show, that gets made into a musical, and now all those things are popular enough to go, hey, let's start eating in reverse and get back to another movie. Because that's where we are. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another Beetlejuice animated thing that comes out after this on Netflix or something. Would you guys at this point? Like, we don't know how much money this movie is going to ultimately end up making and how successful it's going to be on the other side of this. I know Tim Burton has joked that it took 35 years to make Beetlejuice 2, and it's going to take another 100 to make the next one. Lies. Fucking lies. Don't lie to us. Don't lie. If this movie makes a ton of money, you're going to do the next one immediately, because why wouldn't you at this point? Like, I'm not saying this movie set up a sequel, but it didn't leave it completely closed off at the end. If anything, the ending of the movie is a little strange. It ends on kind of a weird note with Beetlejuice and Lydia, which could be explored further down the road, frankly.
Couple things. I saw an interview with Winona Ryder who said for all the years it took that she had been talking with Tim Burton, whenever they would mention that there's a possibility of a sequel, she would always say that in her mind, Lydia should end up with Beetlejuice.
Right.
And I completely agree with her. And when he woke up next to her in that dream, I went, oh my God, are they doing it? Are they actually? That's great. And then she wakes up again like, oh no, it's another horrible dream. And I'm like, oh, but that could have been interesting. Like that's something. And okay. And now I would also like to fundamentally disagree with you, sir. Like a couple of years ago, my wife and I turned the front of our place into the Dante's Inferno room from the original Beetlejuice. Had nothing to do with that fucking musical. 10 years ago, I worked at a haunted house, a year-round haunted house. We did weddings there. You have no fucking idea how many Beetlejuice weddings I was witness to there. That was in 2012. That musical is a flash in the pan bullshit. It is an addendum to Beetlejuice. It is a product of its continued popularity amongst the people. It is influencing zero.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, and we are at loggerheads on this, but I think at the end of the day, to both of our points, Beetlejuice is still in the public conscience one way or another, regardless of what it is from, because people having Beetlejuice weddings again, the amount of stuff at Spirit that is Beetlejuice is more than I think anything else at Spirit in terms of branded merchandising for a singular movie. There are other horror things, but they're not getting as much stuff as Beetlejuice does. And I think it's kind of like almost the de facto Halloween movie too, in a lot of ways. Like it's part of that conversation in the, like, what is we're going to talk about all kinds of those movies this year in October. But I think this is one of the ones, if not like the one, clearly. They're not, I guess the other thing is Hocus Pocus, really. Like that's the other thing that they have a lot of merchandise for. but that's kind of 1A and 1B of the same coin in a lot of ways.
I imagine if I ran over to Hot Topic right now, if I can find one, that I would find more Nightmare Before Christmas stuff than I would Beetlejuice stuff.
No, you would find more Beetlejuice than Nightmare Before Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas is kind of passé now.
Oh, but I
for,
will agree with
for
Father
people
Malone.
for people my age, it was Nightmare Before Christmas. But now for younger people, I think Jenna Ortega is that inroad to Beetlejuice for them that like Nightmare Before Christmas does not have, because it's characters being voiced by people as opposed to, oh look, it's Wednesday Addams again, like doing that thing.
And,
yeah, I do agree with Father
and this
Malone
is now
as far as
the they were actually children.
Who?
I think they were actually children who grew up on Nightmare Before Christmas. So now it's beneath them. They're looking for the next thing as the flavor, and this is it.
I will agree with you, Father Malone, as far as the musical, because I think there's a reason I didn't remember it is because it was a flash in the pan. It wasn't like Hairspray, where Hairspray, the musical, was popular enough that they actually made the movie of the musical of Hairspray. I don't think we're going to get the movie of the musical of Beetlejuice. I think it's kind of up there with some of those other weird, like Carrie was a musical. We don't really talk about that. And I don't think that Carrie brought about Carrie 2, The Rage, or any of the other remakes or subsequent Carries that are out there.
Because Carrie, the musical, was not nominated for Tony Awards, is my point.
I just...
Who cares? What are you talking about?
I don't care is my point, but the industry cared enough to nominate it is my point. I am not sitting here talking about the quality of Beetlejuice the musical. I've listened to it. It's fine. It doesn't need any of our help. But I think the different thing is just like it opened up an avenue for Beetlejuice to be popular with a whole group of people. I'm not sure they even gave a shit about Beetlejuice, frankly.
Well, let's just remember that the lead female character from the episode of Tales from the Dark Side, The Trouble with Mary Jane, was nominated as Best Newcomer for 1987 based on that performance that she gave.
I see nothing wrong with that episode. I see nothing wrong with that. The fact that you're trying to gotcha moment me right now is just beyond the pale, Mike.
I'm not trying to gotcha you. I don't think all.
How dare you?
And I know you love
trying
that
to gotcha him.
So.
I do.
But you needn't, because the fact is, like, it doesn't really matter that the statement that it's influential at all is false. That's all.
That's like your opinion, man.
Well, according to BeetlejuiceBroadway.com, it's a screamingly funny musical.
It is.
And
hilarious.
A jaw-dropping funhouse.
I heard that it's the best thing you could get jerked off to in Denver in 2023.
Holy shit, that's right. That whole connection.
That's right.
That was the only time I had ever heard of Beetlejuice.
That's right. That's the most
that news story. Holy shit.
It sure was for a lot of people. It also was.
Wow.
There's a Beetlejuice musical and it's good enough for someone to get stroked to.
So you're saying that we have this legacy sequel? We need to thank Lauren Boebert for this?
I hope so.
Wow.
There's a lot of black and white all over it.
I'll accept that.
Right. That I can get behind.
All right.
Or in front of, or however you want to interpret it.
It looks like Beetlejuice the musical is on tour. Unfortunately, they're going nowhere near Michigan, but they are going to be in El Paso in November, December, Chris, if you want to head down to that in Texas, because I'm sure Texas is very close. Wherever you're at. Actually, they're going to be in Toledo in February. So
I'll have you know, I already have my tickets to the other movie-based musical that's coming through Lincoln this year, Back to the Future, the musical. Another thing that I'm not going to see it. Of course not. What in God's name is wrong with you? But the fact that every time I drive home from Omaha, I see a billboard saying, check out Back to the Future, the musical this summer. It's like, oh, I'm good. I'm real good. And I felt the same way about Beetlejuice. Like the opening song for Beetlejuice, the musical is pretty catchy. But beyond that, like these movie musical things are a dime a dozen. There's American Psycho, the musical. And it wasn't an opera. It was a musical. Like, we stop, please, get help. Like Michael Jordan said.
I see from Chimp.
That's the best one. That's the best one. I love you, Dr. Zaius. That's the best one.
We have the whole arc. I mean, he hates all the chimpanzees, but then by the end, he loves Dr. Zaius.
That's true. I love you, Dr. Zaius.
He's been on.
Yeah, Selma the Fish. Great episode of that show.
Yeah. A fish named Selma.
As a fish name, that's right, yeah.
Holy shit. Tickets for this musical in Toledo, $295 a person.
I wasn't kidding.
Go fuck yourself. That's insane.
Dun-na,
That's
dun-na,
the cheapest
dun-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
You can go all the way up to 585. This is
You
fucking
can
crazy.
be Beetlejuice in the musical for $600.
Who would want to spend $1,000 for two people to go see a musical?
About a movie that you can watch undoubtedly on a streaming platform.
Oh my God, this is crazy. Who are these people that buy these seats?
Well, those are Hamilton prices for Beetlejuice musical quality.
This is Toledo, man. This is fucking Toledo.
Hit us with one, Mike. Come on.
What?
Holy Toledo.
Oh, sorry.
God. I guess that is the ultimate question, though, with something like this, because we have seen legacy sequels take a while to come out, and then another movie has come out pretty quickly afterwards. We talked about a Ghostbusters sequel not being a thing for a long time, and now there have been two in the last decade. Do y'all think that there will be a third Beetlejuice movie?
Two. I thought
yeah.
Three. Are you forgetting the all-female one?
Talking about canonical one. I'm talking about the ones that people want to acknowledge. Look, I know that there are some people that like that 2016 Ghostbusters movie. Have at it. I was not talking about that movie, correct?
I think there's 100% guarantee we're going to get a Beetlejuice. And if instead Tim Burton wants to give us a television series set in the paranormal world, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. I know that Sylvia Sidney has been gone for a long time, but I really would have liked to an homage to Juno, your caseworker. Yeah, it was kind of sad for me to not get her. I'm damning this movie with faint praise, and I do mean damning. Yeah, it was all right, but I'm not going to be watching this like I watched the first one. I went back and rewatched the first one just earlier this week, and I still love it. Absolutely love it. I still, that joy at the end with the other Harry Belafonte song is so fun, and with Lydia up there floating in the air and all the football players showing up on the steps, everything is so joyous in that movie, and I just didn't get the joy in this one, or even the fright. I mean, even when Beetlejuice shows up as that giant snake and tries to scare everybody away, I thought that was really effective, and I didn't get any of that with this. Is it because I'm so many years older? Maybe, but I felt like it was kind of just thrown together.
Well, does this movie even attempt to do what that first movie does in terms of any horror beats? Not really. Like, that is a pretty successful horror beat in that first movie. The thing with Beetlejuice becoming the handrail on the stairwell and the snake. Like, that scene is pretty there. I remember that scene scaring me as a kid, like straight up, like because I saw Beetlejuice, the first one, as a kid. And I remember that scene scaring me as a kid. I don't think there's anything in this that comes close, because again, I think to your point, Mike, you put it very aptly, and I think it the more I've sat here and I've had it on in the background and I've just been thinking about it, like the Men in Black of it all is really shocking. Like, and again, I guess it's the whole bureauification of the undead experience that, kind of translates the one-to-one to the bureauification of the alien experience, right, with Men in Black. But I would spend more time in this world without Beetlejuice. Just like I would spend more time in the world of Men in Black without Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. The world that they've created is almost more interesting than the character. I get that the Beetlejuice character is the center of all of this, but like, he doesn't have to be. If the next thing that they do, they could do something else in this world if Tim Burton wanted someone else to. Because like you said, Father Malone, Tim Burton kind of controls the keys to the kingdom on this, because this is like so many things for him, his baby, clearly. So there you go.
Well, please don't invoke sticking to the other side of it, because it just so reminds me of like I don't know, R.I.P.D. or some of the other ones where it's just and maybe that's where the Willem Dafoe character was rubbing me the wrong way, just that he was Wolf Jackson and you barely see the poster behind him. I'm just like, I really would have liked to have known more of Wolf Jackson and his movies and all these things, and just that he's a pompous asshole. Maybe cast somebody younger in that role, because I think that would have been kind of cool to be like, oh, he's the hip young detective type of thing. But I mean, seeing Willem Dafoe was always great, and seeing his brain exposed was pretty darn cool as well. But yeah, there are so many bad ways they could have gone with this, and I'm glad they didn't go as fully bad, even though they had to cop out and use the sandworm to destroy the bad guy at the end of this, which I'm just like, okay, we just saw that. We just saw that in the first movie back in 1988.
We need a bit of fan service. I mean, it's just a lot of we didn't really talk about the fan service a whole lot. Father Malone, you alluded to it being not great. Like, the fan service in this movie is fucking bad. Like,
It's intolerable.
But the question becomes, when is fan service not, for the most part? I think the times it's not are the ones we're impressed by more than when they are. Because, I mean, is this more or less intolerable than Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I found to be just as intolerable in terms of its fan service? Like, is this for y'all as intolerable? Because I found it to be.
It's more intolerable in this movie for me because I was really enjoying not every other aspect, but a lot of this movie I enjoyed. Certainly more than the Ghostbusters movie. Like, I like this movie. I'm going to watch this movie again, you know? So
at least the fan service didn't factor into the overall conclusion of the movie entirely, because having that Harold Ramis ghost thing show up at the end of that movie will never be a choice that I understand why they made, other than to just fan service your movie Deus Ex Ramis style. Like, okay, thank God this movie didn't do that. They didn't have Jeffrey Jones show up as the headless corpse to do something, but the sandworm is a close second. It really is.
When you watch this again, please tell me if anything ever becomes of that. I guess he's Portuguese. Le Tigre, I believe, is the character name. He gets hit in the head. He dies. He's got the big knot on his head. We see him a few times in the underworld, and then he just disappears. And I'm like, again, kind of like the head shrink guys. I'm like, where are these guys? Like, I was hoping for more of him. I thought he might actually play a part in this, but instead, by having him in here several times, it draws attention to him, and I don't think we're supposed to be paying that much attention to him.
No, I was going to ask you guys as well if you saw him show up again, like maybe he was on the Soul Train at the very end, because it did seem like they were setting him up for a more important character than he was, because he's featured a few times. Like, I thought he was going to be some sort of bumbling character throughout who keeps like coming up against the bureaucracy of the afterlife. But nope, like, if he's just going to be the way we get to the afterlife, which I thought was clever, because he falls into an open manhole cover and dies, and then suddenly we're in the fucking cuckoo, all the angles and checkerboards world. But then, like, why go back to him at all if he figures into it not at all? I wonder if stuff was cut out, you know, for time.
I've got to assume that that's what it is, because, and again, I think it's either cut out for time or, again, a ever-changing script that has spent 35 years being written, and, you know, who knows how much of it they were like, well, we'll just leave that in. You can be wandering around in the background versus, you know, again, like, well, we've got a whole sandworm segment where they're on Jupiter, and here are the sandworms. That's like, okay, we've seen this before. Like, is this doing CGI really sandworms doesn't help anything here? I'm sorry, like.
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
She says, I must conquer the worm. I must conquer Shai Hulud. I was like, well, that's a little on the nose, isn't it? Talk about
walk without rhythm. Walk without rhythm. Is this a Lizan Al Gaib?
To your point earlier, like, you know, both Lydia and Astrid end up on Mars at a certain point with the sandworm, and then they come back and no time has changed at all. And like, even a moment in that world, like, gave you a few hours of difference. So like, what, you know, where was that all about? And what I was saying was, I'm very, very curious to read the Seth Grahame-Smith version of this script, like the script that they almost made, that they kept almost making, and then Goff and Miller came in and rewrote it for this final.
Was that Beetlejuice in Love?
Look, Seth Grahame-Smith is still a credited writer on this movie, so I said, I'm curious what his draft was like before they rewrote it, because obviously there's enough of his left in it that they gave him a credit.
And here I was thinking, when I saw Goff's name show up, I was just like, oh, he must be related to Michael Goff, who was Alfred in those two Batman films. But no, he's not. This guy was born in Baltimore.
Yeah, no, these are the guys who did Wednesday and Smallville and the fucking, what are those, those Jackie Chan movies with the Old West.
Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Night.
Yeah, they wrote those.
Great films. AFI Cinema Classics.
Hand them Beetlejuice.
Yes, give Beetlejuice to these people, please. Yeah. Well, you know, they could have given it to Freeberg and Seltzer, and they didn't.
Oof, thank God for that. Well, I want to thank my co-hosts, Chris and Father Malone, for joining me on this episode as we talk about Beetlejuice. But before we head out, Chris, what are you working on these days, sir?
Well, all the things that I work on can be found over at Kulturecast.com, where this month we're talking all about films that Father Malone picked for a little foray into things that I had not gotten a chance to watch up until this point in my life, which is a list of things that if you join us in September, you'll get to hear all about it. Some Batman Returns, little Untouchables, a whole lot more coming your way over at weirdingwaymedia.com. What about you, Father Malone?
I'm over at weirdingwaymedia.com too. You can hear my show Midnight Viewing. It's on twice a week, Mondays. It is a weekly roundup show of sort of streaming and current things. And on Friday, the show alternates between the horror anthology podcast, where we're taking a look at Tales from the Dark Side. That's the show I do with these two gentlemen. And the alternate show is Anthologies Attack, which is a show we do about anthologies of every kind of genre. I do that with Antonio Lepore. You can check us out over there. And if you want to support us, go to patreon.com/Father Malone.
About you, Mike, where can people find all your stuff?
As for me, everything that I do is also over at weirdingwaymedia.com, except for a little thing that Chris and I and Richard Haddam do, and we will be joined by our good friend Father Malone as well as we talk about a movie. I think is that 2 from now, or is that the next one? Because we just did Diamonds Are Forever. We're about to do our first Roger Moore. Is that Live and Let Die?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, I'm excited.
Young in Your Heart was an open book.
Yeah. Well, come on over there to patreon.com/projection booth and patreon.com/culturecast, where you can hear us talk all about Rankin on Bond. You can also join our community over there at our Patreons, get all the good stuff. You can also join Father Malone's Patreon, where he also drops episodes early and probably commercial free, or a lot freer than what Spreaker is doing to us right now. So yeah, come on over there and check us out. Please rate and review the shows, all of these shows, wherever you get them. We would greatly appreciate it.